so I want you to, if you have your highlighter, highlight at the top. To do this page, we're focused on this part. Okay, this is the part we're going to be using. The only thing you should be working on and have open is Desmos. Desmos that's in Google Classroom. Okay, we are going to be looking at part to whole. When you have a ratio, that ratio, Jolanda, you pick it up, please. That part, okay, good, pick it up. You have part to whole. That is going to be a percent to a 100. When we're talking about percents, it's always based on this magic number of 100. It says for number 1, there are 90 girls and 60 boys in the 5th grade at a middle school. Of these students, 9 girls and 6 boys were left-handed. What percent of the 6th grade at the middle school were left-handed? Not sure why they have that. That's a typo. That should be 6th grade. Talking about 5th grade. All right, so we are going to use this part to whole comparison, and we're going to be finding the percent. So let's draw the proportion. We're going to have one ratio equivalent to another ratio. Now, tell me, do we know the whole? Do we know the total? How can I find, or what is the total number of students that we have for the 6th grade? Raise your hand if you can tell me. What's the total number of students we have for the 6th grade, Georgia? How'd you get 150? So you have both of those together. You have the 90 and the 60 that you're going to put together, and that's going to give you a total of 150. That's the whole number goes on the bottom. What part? So we're looking at a part to whole relationship. What part of that group are left-handed? What part, Autumn? What part of that group, on this page, what part of the group is left-handed? I agree. Now, I have to have one value for that, so what should I do with those two amounts? What am I going to do with the girls and boys to have one amount? What do you get? All right, so 15 is my part. So the whole group is 150. 15 of them are left-handed. The number 100 is always on the bottom. Do we know what percent that is? No, we don't. That's what we're trying to figure out. So what we don't know, we're going to put in X. Okay? We are going to, remember this? Cross products. So we're going to go this way. What's 150 times X? 150X equals, you have Desmos. What's 15 times 100? DeMarcus, what do you get? Multiply. Use Desmos. Put it in. What's 15 times 100? I'll let you get to the decimal. You got it? 15 times 100. All right, so we're going to put that. So what we're doing is we're doing a cross, finding the term for that. Nothing to do with picking on you. Just do what you need to do. How am I going to find 1x? I don't want 150 x's. That's what I have. I have 150 x's equals this. I want 1x. How am I going to find that? Go back to solving equations. What am I going to do to both sides to figure out 1x? What am I doing with 150 and x? Multiplying. What's the inverse? Division. What am I going to divide both sides by? 150. You have Desmos. So I have 150 divided by 150 is 1x. That's what I want. What's 1,500 divided by 150? Raise your hand when you get an answer. What do you get? Virginia. Anybody else get 10? Okay, so if x is 10, What is 10 over 100 as a percent? 10%. That's your answer. Questions. So we're going to be using cross products. We're not going to strain our brain. We're going to just use Desmos to do the hard part. Number 2, customers at a bakery took a survey. The results showed that 144 customers rated the shop as being very satisfactory. This number represented 50% of the total number of customers who took the survey. What was the total number of customers who took the survey? What is it that we don't know that we're trying to find out? Raise your hand if you can tell me. What is it that's missing that the question is asking us to find? What is it that we don't know and we're trying to figure out? It's going to be what? Catalea? You okay? Yeah. All right, what are we trying to find out on number 2? Not sure. What are we trying to figure out on number 2? Yes?
The total numbers of the customers who took the survey?
Yeah, we're trying to find total. Is that part or whole? Whole. That's the whole. So we know that for this, the whole is going to be on the bottom. We don't know that. Do we know what part answered very satisfactory? What part said very satisfactory? 50 of them? 144. 144 customers rated very satisfactory. Was that all of them? No. So I'm going to put on top 144 because I know that part out of a total I'm trying to find. What percent do we know it is going to be equal to? How am I going to put 50% over here? What goes on top? 50. No percent sign because we're writing that as a ratio based on what denominator always? 100. So now we're going to do our cross products. All right, so what's 50 times x? 50x. And now you got Desmos. What's 144 times 100? Quickly. What's 144 times 100? Raise your hand when you have an answer. Use Desmos. Don't strain your brain. Just push the buttons. What do you get, Catalea?
I don't know how to say it.
Give me the digits. I'll write them down.
It's 14400.
Okay, so if I do that and then put in a comma, does that make it easier to read?
Yeah.
What is it?
1400 and
14,400. Yep, it's okay. Now, that's for 50 x's. I just want one. How am I going to find out what 1x is equal to? Adriana, how am I going to figure out 1x? What am I going to do to both sides? This is for 50 x's is 14,400. What am I going to do? By what? 50? Yeah. Whatever your coefficient is what you divide by. So 50 divided by 50 is 1x. In Desmos, put 14,400 divided by 50. Killian, what'd you get? Oh, yeah. Do it. The problem we just talked about. Put it in. Desmos. What do you get when you put that in, Killian? Anybody else get 288? 288? Okay, 288. So 288 is the whole amount. Does that make sense? Is that half 144? Is half of 288 144? Yeah. And so that's why that would have to be the whole amount. Questions? As part of a survey, 300 girls were asked, name your favorite sport. The results showed that 12 of the girls named golf as their favorite sport. Is that very many? No. Not really. What percentage of the girls in the survey named golf as their favorite sport? What are we trying to find? What percentage? So, yep, just a percent part we're trying to find. So, what can I highlight to put in this percent proportion? 300. Is what? Total. Is that top or bottom? Bottom. All right, so that's going to go on the bottom. That's the whole amount. What else?
12 on top.
Oh, why 12?
Because it's only goes so far.
Okay, so 12 of them pick golf. Not too many. Now, what else am I going to put in? What is it that we're trying to figure out that's going to be X? Is that top or bottom? Top. What always underneath the percentage? 100. How am I going to solve this? Cross multiplication, making an equation. We know these are equal, so we're going to use our cross product. So, what's 300 times x? 300x equals, what's 12 times 100, Sienna? 1,200. I don't want 300 x's, I just want one. How am I going to find 1x so that I can figure out the percent? Alyssa, what am I going to do?
What did you say?
I said I only want 1x. How am I going to find it? What have we done for number 1, number 2? Not sure. That's okay. I know you're trying to get back into the swing of things. Yep. Jamar, what am I going to do? 5? 300. So I'm dividing both sides by 300. Whatever the coefficient is what you're dividing by. What's 300 divided by 300? 1. So I have x equals, now in Desmos, do 1,200 divided by 300. Don't strain your brain. Put it in Desmos. DeMarcus, got an answer? Put this in Desmos. I hear a lot of people saying 4. So, what percent of the girls? 4%. Question. Raise your hand for bonus points if you can tell me without doing anything on the calculator. What's 10% of 300? Raise your hand if you can tell me. And how did you get it? What is 10% of 300 is going to be what, Kaden?
30.
How can you get it easily? How many times? Move that decimal 1 time to the left. So if you have 300, 10% would be 30. By the way, what would 5% be? What would 5% be? If 10% is 30, what would 5% be? It's going to be what, Nasiah? 30. What's half? 15. Okay? By the way, this is less than that. That's why we have only 4%. Okay? Yes, ma'am? If it's an emergency, make it pass. All right, at the bottom. In 2014, there are approximately 8,940 internet cafes in the United States. A survey found that 75% of those cafes had free access to the internet. Based on the information, how many cafes offer free internet in 2014? So, what are we going to get? All right, so how am I going to find this? What's important? What are we trying to find? It's going to be what? Sienna? How many cafes offered free access? Okay, so do they all offer free access? No, they don't all. So let's set up our proportion. So what numbers do I have that I can fill in? Killian, what should I highlight? Okay, so that is what? It's the bottom because that's the total. So that goes on the bottom, 8,940. What else do I know? 75%. How's that going to help out? Top. What goes under it? What always goes underneath a percent number? 100. All right. Do we know how many have free access? No, that's what we're trying to figure out. That's the part we're trying to figure out. So what am I going to put in that spot? X. Now we're going to do our cross products. So this and this. Okay, so this time we get 100x that's on the other side. That's okay. I can put 100x there. Go this way and do, please use Desmos, 8,940 times 75. What is 8,940 times 75? What did you get, Georgia?
670,500.
Did I write what you wanted me to write? Is that right? Okay. Now, how I have 100 x's equal that. How many x's do I want? 1. How am I going to change 100 x's to 1x, Jaquel? What am I going to do? How am I going to change this 100 to 1? What am I going to do? How? What am I going to do that x's it out? What am I going to divide it by? Very good. Both sides we divide by 100. 100 divided by 100 leaves x. And then you've got 670,500 divided by 100. What is that going to equal? Virginia, what'd you get? Put it in. Put this in your, put that in Desmos. Don't wait to just copy it down. Do it on your own. Make sure you're doing it right. Autumn, what'd you get? What do you get, Lacey?
6,705.
6,705. Do you see that answer? Okay, that's the part. So it's going to be this. Questions. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are looking at this part. The is over of. Okay, on the classwork, we're going to be estimating. Hopefully you can find half of something. How do you find half of something? What do? Divide by 2. So that's going to be very important for this activity and estimating. Okay, this is estimating, rounding, real life. Yes, sir. Thanks, Amario. All right, so at the top, you are going to put is over of. Okay? Those are key words in a percent proportion. We were talking about part to whole, but if you can find is and of with words with them, it's going to help us to get things set up. We don't know any percents on this one. That's what we're trying to estimate is the percent. To do that, we're going to put is over of. So let's look at number 1. 39 is what percent of 60? We are going to take, when we find is, and the number that's close to it that doesn't have a percent sign, we're going to circle it. So what is my is number? 39. Circle it. Do you see an of number? All right, circle it. So when we write our fraction or our ratio, the is goes on top. It's is over of. So what number goes on top? 39. What number goes on the bottom? All right, now this is where the half comes in. We know that half is what percent? 50. What is half of 60? All right, we have 39. Do we have less than half, more than half, but less than 100, or more than 100? We have between 50 and 100 because it's more than half. Half of 60 is 30. We have 39. So we're going to circle the 2. Okay, next one, is over of. What am I going to circle for 2? What is my is number? 25. What is my of number? 97. So when I write this, I'm going to put what over what? 25 over 97. 97 is really close to what? 100. What's half of 100? 50. Is 25 close to that? So is it less than 50, between 50 and 100, or more than 100? Less, because to be it's not close to 50. It have to be over 50. So it's going to be less than 50%. Okay, next one. What am I going to circle? So 70 goes with what? Is. What am I going to circle for 81? Of. So when we do this, what has to go on top? Is. What's my is number? 70. What goes underneath? 81. 81's really close to what? Well, think. 80, right? 80? What's half 80? 40. I've got 70. Am I going to pick less than 50, between 50 and 100, or more than 100? Really? It's between, okay? Because it's more than half, okay? But less than, what would 100% be if I have 81 on the bottom? 81. So to get 100%, I need 81 over 81. That's why it's between. It's more than 40, but less than 81. So we're going to circle the middle. All right, next one. I'm circling. Same numbers. What is my of number?
70.
What's my is number?
81.
All right, so now what goes on top? 81. Why 81? Is. Is always over of. Do you have this word? Oh, you got it? Okay, write it. All right, thank you. I apologize. What goes on the bottom? 70. I don't need to find half. Why? Because the number on top is bigger than the number on the bottom. So is this less than 50? Between 50 and 100, or more than 100? More than 100, because it's what kind of fraction? Improper. We're going to do two more. All right, this one, do you even see? I see is and of, but here's the problem. 24 is in the middle. So let me read it to you. It says 9 out of 24 is what percent? What does that sound like? A what? Starts with an R. Ratio. It's a ratio. So 9 out of 24. That's a part to whole. What goes on top? What goes on the bottom? It's 9 out of 24. What's half of 24? 12. I got 9. Is that half or less than half? So what am I going to circle? 1. All right, next one. 300 out of 405. Okay, another ratio. What goes on top?
300.
What goes on the bottom?
405.
All right, 405 is really close to what? 400. What's half of 400? What is it? 200. If I have 300, is that less than half or more than half? More than half. What should I circle? The 2. Questions? Okay, listen. When we come back, we're going to be working on these on our own. So you may line up for lunch also.